The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and are not those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. The phone lines are open. Call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. It's time for Stewart Laser Talk with your host, Dr. Tred J. Rosacker.
I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
A third of Americans are obese, another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes.
Sleep apnea, heart disease.
Everything's hurting now.
It's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to keep weight off.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
It's not only health, it's about survival and well-being of the United States as a nation.
You don't crave broccoli, and our generation has grown up craving a Big Mac.
I want to think that there's something better for me.
Unless we're able to control this epidemic, we're going to have an abundance of chronic disease.
All of us have to be part of the solution to reduce obesity.
The weight of the nation is out of control, but we can fix that.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price.
Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
Good morning, Stuart, Florida. My name is Dr. Tred Rissacker, and I am a doctor of chiropractic and your host here today on my Slim Body Laser Spa Health and Wellness Show. The emphasis has always been on how today's modern medical therapy lasers, not the type that cut, therapeutic lasers are helping people to look better, to feel better, to get faster results with less outlay of money, less time off. I mean, they're just incredibly effective. I've been practicing laser therapy, and we're using them for pain relief for over 11 years now, going on my 11th year. And of course, to help release the stubborn fat. And that's always been our message. Now, I get a lot of, by the way, if you're interested in a free consultation, I'm available at the office. 772-223-5885. You can go on my website, Dr. Tred's Slim Body Laser Spa, and you can hit the contact page and you can send an email to us. You know, I am offering to the listeners of the radio a free body fat analysis. That is a BMI exam. And it's a machine it's the kind you would use at the gym where they hold on to it and it calculates your body fat. Well, those machines are very unreliable unless they're very expensive and supervised by a professional. They give you an idea, but they're very wrong a lot of times. And the machine we are using is something by a company called Bioimpedance Analysis, Biodynamics, and it's about a $2,000 machine. You put in your age, your weight, your height, your gender, and then it will calculate by sending a very mild, to let you put these pads on your right foot and your right hand, and it sends this current through your body. And, you know, electricity is conducted at different speeds based on the medium it's running through. So water, fat, and muscle conduct electricity at different speeds. This machine has the ability to calculate something called resistance or impedance. And with that impedance number, it compares those numbers to your data, which is your age, your height, your weight, and your gender. And it comes up with a 3% error rate as to how much body fat you're carrying. There's a term now, how much body fat you're carrying, also what your resting caloric intake is. In other words, how many calories you're burning at rest. That's a very important number to know that if you want to lose weight. You need to know your caloric intake, your max amount that you're allowable. Everybody has one, kind of like your credit score. It's really hard to buy a house if you don't have a good credit score. It's your max. and the BMR is the same way. It also calculates something called the total body water. And that means how hydrated you are. Normal body hydration, 76% of your total mass, your body weight, is water. We're just a big sack of water, like a water balloon walking around. And the only 25% of our body is minerals and bone and some nutrients and things that are made up, but it's all held together by water. Yet we don't like to drink water, many of us. And you can be dehydrated and not even be aware of it because you're really not thirsty. Yet all of your bodily systems, your immune system, your circulatory system, your glandular system, your eliminative system, your nervous system, your digestive system, all require water to function. So I can't think of an easier, more important number to know is how hydrated you are. Because if you're hydrated with enough water, the max amount, then your bodily functions all work better. And who doesn't want a better body, an ability to function higher at a better ability, especially when it comes to avoiding getting sick? Isn't it amazing to think that a very large percentage of our population is vulnerable to infections and germs and viruses? They're have high blood sugar. They have cardiovascular disease. They're possibly could have strokes because they're not drinking enough water. Yet we spend so much money and time on early detection, on CAT scans and health insurance and these, huge facilities to take care of us when we're sick, when much of it can be alleviated by just increasing your water intake. And water, water needs to be pure water, everybody. It's anytime it's mixed, there are things you can do, like teas are okay, certain juices are okay, but coffee's not considered a replacement for water. Coffee is a diuretic and causes you to release stored water. Yeah, so when you drink a cup of coffee and within 20 minutes you have to pee, you're not peeing out the coffee. You're peeing out the body's water that the coffee replaced. It's called a diuretic. Alcohol is a diuretic. When you drink alcohol, you're not getting any water from it. Really, you'll still be dehydrated. And the alcohol moves into the tissue cell, pushes out the clean water. That is then absorbed by the kidneys and you pee it out. That's why a person pees after drinking beers. And you become dehydrated after alcohol. And you become dehydrated after drinking coffee. In too much. Now I have my cup of coffee every morning because I like coffee. I like the taste of it. It helps, as they say, it gets me started in the morning in many different ways. And I limit myself to 1 cup of good quality coffee, and I might, sometimes I'll have another cup sometime along the day, but I drink a lot of water before the coffee, after the coffee. I'm aware that it's a diuretic, but most people are walking around dehydrated. And my bioimpedance analysis, this machine I have, will tell you in 3 minutes how hydrated you are. Now, we can do the machine. It's a portable machine, and I have at my spa on East Ocean, right across from the Fresh Market. I brought my pop-up tent, and I have my tent out there, and I have a sign, and then it says free BIA BMI. You can come up and show up at there. Make sure you want to call just to make sure that I'm there. I mean, I have the tent set up, but I'm not sitting in the hot sun waiting for people to walk up. But if you come in, we can do the test right outside. You don't even have to come into the spa. I want to give back. I've had a lot of success at the Slim Body Spa, and normally it's part of our consultation, but I'll sit down and do a BIA for you, and you can have it, and it comes out with a printout, and it has your target, where your weight is, and your target, what your weight should be to be healthier and be able to be more resistant to these diseases, these problems, because when your body is healthier, you have less of a chance of getting sick. And it gives you your weight and your target weight, how much weight you need to lose. It gives your body fat percentage, and it's truthful, and also what it should be. It gives you your total body water, and then you need to be able to bring that level up if it's very dehydrated. Now, I do a lot of these body fat analysis tests as part of my protocol when people come in for the Slim Body Laser Spa. And listen, I am not kidding you. Nobody, for the most part, is even over 60% hydrated. And 76% is the normal where you should be. Now, I believe my machine, when it gets to be about 65, it's, that's the same as being 76%. So anything under 60 is a problem. I see all the time people that are 35 and 40% total body water. Now, a 30 to a 40% total body water means your body is not functioning properly. The first thing that happens is your liver detoxification goes down. Your ability to cleanse the body of toxins and poisons and things that you eat, things that you breathe in, germs that you maybe have ingested, viral particles, which are constantly being kicked out of the system. When your liver cannot detoxify properly because you're dehydrated, you're vulnerable to that staying in the body too long. This is a simple fix, people. Water's cheap. Drink lots of it. And that machine will tell you. Now, the other important part about your total body water is there's two compartments, two areas where you store water. There's what they call intracellular, within the cell, and that would be considered healthy water. And about 80% of the 76%, 80% should be held within the tissue cell. The other 20% is outside of the tissue in the bloodstream or in your lymphatic system, what they call the interstitial space. As long as the ratio is 80% intracellular, 20% extracellular, your body is functioning properly. But what happens is when you suffer with inflammatory disease, inflammation, autoimmune problems such as arthritis, such as diabetes, such as any kind of liver congestion, kidneys that aren't cleansing properly, poor diet, your body will start to increase the outer cellular water, the water that is outside of the cell, not inside of the cell. So that 80 to 20 ratio changes. Now you end up with 70% within the cell and 30% outside of the cell, and we call that edema. This is the person who comes in and says, "Oh, every joint in my body aches. My ankle aches. I get up in the morning, I'm stiff. I got to take a hot shower. I sit in the car and I drive a half hour, an hour, and it's like I'm stooped over. I can't straighten up. My rings don't fit on my hands anymore. I wake up, my feet are swollen. They're red." This is edema. And edema is a generalized symptom of other problems. And when we do the BIA test, it shows you scientifically those two compartments. And if you're dehydrated, most likely you might have inflammation at the same time. And that inflammation leaves you vulnerable to things like viruses, bacteria, parasites, worms, things which make humans sick. You're much more vulnerable when you have edema because the immune system is already activated dealing with that edema. It's called chronic inflammation. People with high body fat levels, higher than 25%, have chronic inflammation. It's proven. And from that chronic inflammation leads the vulnerability to being taken out by something as simple as a cold virus or an influenza. So I know, why are we looking for something that is going to be given to us by a group of scientists all over the world and countries studying for some magic bullet injection called a vaccination or something which is, it's not going to fix everybody, when something as simple as being hydrated can protect you even more so, from getting it in the first place. This is just, well, I know one of the big reasons why is that there's really no money to be made selling you water. Well, they changed that, huh? Remember 20 years ago? Could you imagine paying $1 for a bottle of water or $2? If it wasn't for Perrier back in the old days, they kind of broke the seal that water is something that can be paid for. Now you buy bottled water, you buy pure water, you spend more money. Water costs more than beer. And, it's become a business model. So we really should drink more of it, but it's not quite as successful as the medical model of immunizations and medicine. That's a much bigger moneymaker. So I believe they put a lot more effort into that than just teaching people about water. So if you're interested in getting that water examination, how hydrated you are, you can more than welcome to give us a call at the spa, 772-223-5885. Tell the staff you're coming in for that BIA examination, that free BIA BMI test. It's a gift to the residents here. Hey, we're slow. We got a lot of time to do it, so I want to help people. And it's 3 minutes on the machine, 10 minutes of explanation, and then I'll give you that info and you can go on your way. So that's really important to know about your overall total body water. Now, one of the other parts that I think is critical is I was reading the news this morning, and it said that the city of Stuart has voted to suggest that we all wear face masks downtown. And I don't know if that means what area downtown. Does that mean, the city of Stuart is the city of Stuart. It encompasses all the way to the bridge, right out past the airport. So I don't know how they're delineating that area that they consider Stuart. Now, it didn't say downtown, but that's where they want you to wear it. And they were very clear in the article. It said it is not a law. It's a suggestion. And I thank them for that, for not making a law that we have to have our faces covered. Because back in the cowboy and Indian days and the bank robbers, they were the ones that wore the masks as far as I remember. And I would hate to have my daughter working at a business and having somebody come in with a mask and, for services, but not be able to use her ability to determine good from bad. We all know when we look at people's faces, if they're pleasant people or not, or you can see, it's well known. And when you cover yourself with a mask, it's very, it's more dangerous than your chances of getting sick from this COVID, having a bunch of people go in with full face masks covering their face. And some people put masks on that are, right up to their nose, right, covering their whole face. They look like, Terminators or something. And then there's other people that, it's become almost a joke. And, the face mask and the ability to wear them, it really, when I traveled a lot in Asia. I married a beautiful girl from Thailand. She's wonderful and super intelligent, no third world here. And when I traveled back and forth to Asia, everywhere we would go, we would see a lot of people with masks, very common in the Asian population. And most of them were kids. And we flew on one flight back from, it stopped in Seoul, South Korea. And it was full of kids coming back from the holidays from school. Half the airplane was covered with masks. And I'm a doctor and I'm thinking, we don't do that in America. And I asked a few of the kids that were there why they were wearing masks. And they said, well, it's because we had a cold. As a group, we all had left and some of us, had runny noses and coughing. And this is protection for other people. And I thought, well, that's a nice thing. Thank you for that. I never realized, to think of putting it on healthy people in a way of protecting other people is pretty, out there. It's out on the fringe, which is why it's not a law. It's suggested. Now, if you're sick, you're not feeling well, and you got a cold and you got a runny nose and you're coughing, you should probably stay home for the most part. If you have to go out, wear a mask, please. That's my feeling about it. And most health professionals will tell you the same thing. So that's all I'm going to say about masks. I thank the city of Stewart for making a suggestion, but not making it into some kind of law, which is probably unenforceable. We do live in a country that has freedoms, last I checked. So I really like the idea of just being healthier and not worrying about all these draconian measures. If your health was better and you were, you had less body fat and you were able to exercise more and things, your chances of getting sick are much less. So here's my list of things that I do to stay healthier, and I do it every day. Okay, so here's my first to-do list. I drink at least, a half a gallon of water each day, up to a gallon. And, so the way my habit is, I like distilled water and I like purified water. Spring water can be full of minerals and toxins you don't even know is in there because, they're really taking water out of the ground. So when you take the Poland Springs and the Zephyr Hills water, there's nothing that's saying that it's pure. It's pulling it from an aquifer down underneath way deep in Florida, and it's full of minerals, but it's different than purified water. So I like to know that there's nothing in the water that I didn't intend to be in there. So I like purified water, and that would be your Dasani, your reverse osmosis, distillation, where they boil it and the steam comes down. I really like that water myself. So I start my day with, I keep a quart, a gallon jug in my kitchen. And as soon as I get up, before I make coffee, after I hit the head, I will drink one 16-ounce glass and gulp it. And if I can, I'll drink 2 of them. I also sometimes I'll put a squeeze a lemon into that water. I'll do it almost like I'll heat it up just a little bit so it's warm, squeeze a fresh lemon in it, and drink that at least 15 to 20 minutes before I eat my breakfast. Now, there's a lot of studies on this, that when you drink a lemon in the morning in a glass of water, that it helps to start with secretes the gastric juices that help you with digestion. And if you get a good little secretion of gastric juices before you eat your breakfast, you're going to digest your food better. So that is a really good thing to do. Now, I don't suggest drinking water when you eat food at the same time. The tendency is to drink the water and then slurp it down with, to eat the food, and then you wash it down with the water. And what happens is you also wash it through the digestive tract too fast, and you're not able to break down the nutrients and the enzymes and those good things that you get from food when you drink too much liquid while you're eating food. So it's better to drink before you eat your meal, wait about a half hour, and then you can have some more water. It's a much better option to do that. And I definitely am okay with drinking water before I go to bed. I think it's better to get up and have to pee halfway through the night than to go to bed dehydrated. Now, there's a lot of people that will not drink any water 3-4 hours before they go to sleep. Now, if you're a healthy person and you're exercising and your body fat is a good number, you're not pre-diabetic, and 50% of our population is pre-diabetic. So there's only a few of you out there that really, you could probably go without drinking water before you go to sleep. But most of you should probably drink the water. They've done a lot of studies on this. If you're pre-diabetic and you're starting to have consistent higher blood sugar, which is what prediabetes is. Your body's insulin is becoming resistant, so the food you're eating is leaving you with an excess amount of glucose. One of the symptoms you get is you're thirsty because the body needs the extra water to get rid of that glucose. And you might not even be diabetic yet. So drinking a lot of water, if you're thirsty, is really important. And before you go to sleep, it's important too, because remember, you're going to be hopefully sleeping for 6 to 8 hours, and you're not going to get any water in that time frame. And it's better to go to bed with plenty of water and then get up halfway through the night and drink some more water, especially if you're pre-diabetic, because this will lessen the problem of the high blood sugar on your body. It lessens the toxicity of it. It waters it down. So my number 2, and these are laws. These are not suggestions. These are immutable laws. And if you don't follow the law, you know what nature does. Eventually it will eliminate you. So here's number 2. What do you think it is? You got to exercise every day. You got to move your body every day. Walk, jog, swim, practice yoga, do push-ups, leg lifts, stand on a whole body vibration plate, which is what I like to do every day. It can be as simple as punching a bag. It could be as simple as moving your arms around. They've done studies on conductors, people that conduct orchestras. They have very low incidence of heart disease and circulatory problems because they move their arms around, showing the people how to do their thing. And that helps move the blood supply. You need to move your body every day because movement is the way your body distributes the food that you eat to all the cells. So you could have the very best nutritious quality food, eat it, it goes into your digestive tract, and if you don't move, you cannot distribute the energy to the body. That's one of the purposes of movement. So it isn't exercise. It's not belonging to Gold's Gym and running running the bridges, although if you like that, that's fine. It really is just moving. So after a meal, it's good to get out and go for a walk. It helps distribute the food that you ate, gets it to all of the cells. It's critically important. If you don't move after eating, or you move very little, your body can't utilize those nutrients, and toxicity will start to build up in the tissues. That toxicity is that inflammation we talked about, which holds on to water, and it causes you to become swollen with edema. And then, of course, my BIA is going to show that your water is, the percentage is off. That could come just from not moving. This is stuff, they has this, Evan and Bonnie in the morning, they have this show, Are You Smarter Than a 5-Year-Old? They're smart enough to walk around and move around. They're also, they like water, most of them, unless the parents have made them not like it, but as we get older, I don't exercise. Don't like to exercise. Nope, don't do it. Well, nature has a way of can be very cruel when you violate her laws. And one of them is you got to move your body every day. Now, the other reason for movement is how you get rid of the toxins and the daily use of the food you eat, the air you breathe, the chemicals that are applied to our body, the chemicals we ingest in foods and food colorings and fragrances, in our cars when a diesel or a big truck goes by and you smell the exhaust, or you catch a whiff of the road tar because they just paved it. These are toxins going into your body. The way your body gets rid of toxins is through the lymphatic system. It's the sewage system of the body. Now, your lymphatic system is a bunch of vessels that are attached to lymph nodes. Now, we know where the lymph nodes are in the neck. You feel those lymph nodes when a kid has a sore throat, his glands swell up in his neck. If you were to be looking for breast cancer, there's sentinel lymph nodes under your armpit that you might palpate or feel with your fingers. And if they're enlarged, that could be saying there's an infection in the breast. lymph nodes down around your groin. If you had an infection in your foot or your leg, those lymph nodes would be swollen. So the lymph nodes are part of the lymphatic system. And the heart beats 72 beats per minute. Every minute, your entire blood circulation is circulated every minute by the body. It's a mandate. But that doesn't mean that you have removed the toxins and the byproducts that the blood carried to the tissue. Remember, blood carries oxygen and it carries nutrients and some other very important things to the tissues. Once the tissues absorb those nutrients and that oxygen, the blood, which has had it removed, goes back to the heart and to the lungs to be reoxygenated. But the waste products are picked up by the lymphatic system, which doesn't have a pump. There is no pump for the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system works through movement. Every time you contract a muscle and bend and move, you're going to push lymphatic fluid through the system. It goes into the kidneys, goes into the liver. It's purified, detoxified. You pass it out through the urine, through the kidneys. So again, movement is how your body gets rid of the waste products. And if you're not moving, you're going to have a buildup of waste products in your body. That buildup of waste products are called inorganic salts, and that leads to edema. It leads to swelling. It leads to chronic inflammation, which leads to a propensity to be weak, to have a decreased immune response. I don't want to have a decreased immune response over something as simple as that. Come on, lay on your back, pull your knees to your chest, get up, sit down, change the channel. I remember my aunt, she wouldn't leave the house for nothing. She sat in a chair, read books, watched movies, and she loved cigarettes. And I bought her a pack of cigarettes because she asked me to. And when I brought it to her, my mom says, "Don't you do that for her." And I said, "Mom, she wants to smoke. I'm not going to stop her from smoking." She goes, "Oh, no, that's not why." She goes, "That's the only time she leaves the house and gets in her car is to go buy cigarettes. And she's the only time she walks is to get the cigarettes. And you brought them to her." Hey, I remember it. She died prematurely, very unhealthy. And she did not like to exercise. Didn't think it was important. But she would to get those cigarettes. So, this is critical, people. This moving is so important. I can't tell you, and it doesn't, if you need help with it, there's many ways to move. All right. Number 3, my list of to do. Eat. Okay. I just got a text. You're listening to Dr. Tread Rissacker, Slim Body Laser Spa. We're located on East Ocean Boulevard, right across from the Fresh Market. And I am offering, I have a tent set up when you drive by, and it says free BMI, BMR. I have my machine out there, and I can do it right outside. And we can calculate your body fat percentage, your resting caloric intake, so you know how many calories to eat to lose weight, and your total body water, no charge. I'll give you the printout. It has targets, recommendations, and you can go home, try to eat a little better, walk a little more, drink some more water, try it for a month or 2, come back. I'll do it again to see how you did. You need to have this information, and the world's not going to give it to you. Your doctor's not going to do this for you. I promise you. So that's what we're doing here. All right. My number 3 thing that I do, a real summary. The first one is I drink water every day. Number 2 is I move my body every day. Sometimes more than others, but I do. I move my body every day in every way. That way you don't have lots of things. So number 3, I eat live food as much as I can, as often as I can. Now, I am not perfect. I still like the empty carbs, the carbohydrates, the pizzas, the Italian food. Sometimes I have some ice cream. I will eat breads, but I don't eat a lot, and I don't eat them all the time. So if you want to get if you want to be healthy and you want to help your body to live longer and to be resistant to these diseases, to have a stronger immune system, the food you need to eat should be live, fresh food. And that would be, this isn't rocket science here. These are called fresh vegetables. Again, are you smarter than a 5-year-old? Ask a 5-year-old, what of this plate is live food? You know, that Pop-Tart, that bowl of rice, or those vegetables? And the kid's like, ew, I don't like vegetables. Right? And as a parent, you're okay with that? Well, all right, honey, you don't have to eat those vegetables. I'd much rather you just have a Pop-Tart as you go off to school. Why? You don't want to deal with that? Well, you hold them down for a shot. You hold them down to feed them medicine they don't want to eat. So they scream and cry. I've seen it. Yet you don't push the vegetables, which is probably going to give them habits for the rest of their life. My mom used to put butter and salt on our vegetables. Your kid will eat vegetables if you put butter and salt on them for the most part. As I got older, I didn't like so much butter and salt, but she taught us with that. And she always had fresh steamed vegetables available. Always. Snacks was a bag of carrots cut up. And I didn't like plain carrots, so we were able to put them in the ranch dressing. You know, live food, the reason why it should be live food is live food contains the energy from the sun, the energy which powers your body, which powers the entire Earth's ecosphere is powered by the sun. That huge, bright thermonuclear reaction that you look up to in the sky that you can't stare at is pumping out radiation, just tons of radiation. And as it travels through the atmosphere and it gets to us, our atmosphere screens out a lot of the bad rays, but the radiant energy is absorbed by the plants. When the plant absorbs radiant, I'm growing a garden right now. It's incredible how fast these gardens grow. The energy's coming. If it doesn't have the sun, if it's in the shade, it doesn't grow. Trust me, you will kill plants by putting them in the dark because they're not getting the energy from the sun, the radiant energy. And what's great about a plant is a plant can convert radiant energy into chemical energy that we can then utilize. We can't live on radiant energy. If you lay out in the sun, you're not going to absorb enough energy to power your body to save your life. I promise you, you will starve to death. We require a plant to be the transfer of energy. It's called the transmutation of radiant energy is what it's called. And energy never it's never goes away. It's forever. It just changes its vehicle. You know, water is fresh water, and then it turns to ice, then it turns to steam, then it goes back to steam again, then it comes back into, it never goes away. And energy is the same way. Plants are what transmute radiant energy into chemical energy, and then we eat the plant. When we eat the plant, the energy is released as our body digests and breaks down those plant molecules. And that energy is released into your body, and that's what powers your energy. That's what powers your body's ability to think, to move, to digest food, to strengthen the immune system, to rebuild tissues, to get rid of toxins. It's the energy which is bind up in those plant between those molecules of starch. So the closer now, the food that you're eating, the closer it is to being live food, such as somebody that grows their own garden and does organic without pesticides, the more energy you're going to get from the food. If you take that same food from the garden, which is full of energy when it's picked, and then you spray it with chemicals to preserve it, then you put it into some kind of device to keep it from, to ship it, and then it goes on they coat it with wax so it preserves a little longer, and then you get it at the grocery store. You've lost a lot of that nutrition, not nutrition, the energy. The carbon, the hydrogen, the oxygen, that's still there, but you've lost the energy. So now when it comes to proteins, animals eat plants. A lot of them do. And those animals that eat other animals eat the animal that ate the plant. So this is that transmutation of radiant energy, is going from the sun to the plant, from the plant to the animal, from the animal to the other animal. Now they're holding on to that energy. And when we eat the protein from an animal or from a plant, we're getting the energy from that. But it's not as strong of energy as you would get from the natural food, from the vegetables. Now, I'm not promoting a vegan diet here. Believe me, we need proteins for many of the things we perform. I believe for work, for thinking, for quick energy. You know, protein is a wonderful way of helping you lose weight. It's proven that there's certain protein builds muscle faster than vegetables build muscle. And that's why when you see somebody working out, they're drinking protein shakes and protein supplements, because amino acids build muscle tissue. Without that, it's hard to build muscle, but you can definitely have plant proteins. But the problem with plant proteins is they are not a complete protein. There's certain amino acids which are devoid in plant protein versus animal proteins. So if you're a strict vegan, now you can get it from dairy products. You get a complete protein from an egg, from cheese, from milk, but you're not going to get the complete protein from strictly kale or spinach. And it's well known if you're into veganism, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like it, you know. So there's a couple good restaurants in town that I go to regularly. One of them is Fruits and Roots. It's right there on Colorado Avenue. She's a wonderful person, and you can get a fantastic, meal that's full of live food. I try to eat at least one huge live meal a day, which is usually for lunch, a big salad with tofu or the chickpea protein. And then I'll always have a lot of vegetables with dinner. I'll have a small piece of protein, not a huge steak with a little vegetables and potatoes. I have a huge plate of vegetables and potatoes with a small piece of steak. And for snacking, I like protein snacks more than I like carbohydrates. So, and I know and the reason why is I want that live food. I want the energy and I want those nutrients, because you can't guarantee that you don't, your body needs those to fight off, to make the immune system function. All right. Number 5, take extra supplements besides what you're already taking. I take extra nutrients. I think it's critically important. There was a time when humans completely hunted and gathered their food from the ground and killed animals that they hunted, and they gathered the food. The food was grown in dirt, which was composted and fell back into itself, and all the nutrients and minerals were very available, because the Earth's crust is where all the nutrients are, the minerals, the enzymes, the things we need to keep ourselves alive. It's a very thin crust. And if you grow food into that same area again and again and again without renutrifying, without making the soil nutritious again, by allowing it to compost back in, you start getting vegetables and fruits that don't have the same amount of nutrients. They look like they do. They're green like they do. They're bigger than what you maybe did, 1,000 years ago, but they've proven they don't have the trace elements that are normally necessary, a lot of it. So instead of becoming someone that gardens at home and does all this, and, I recommend supplementation. And that means a good multivitamin and a multi-mineral supplement. Now, the manufacturers have really come a long way when it comes to supplementation. The products that they use are very natural. Most of the time, you want to be sure that you get natural supplementation. There's a lot of ways they make vitamin C and vitamin E and these things that are chemical based. They imitate the chemical compound. It's much better if you can get them from a natural source. And they're probably going to be a little more expensive. There's one really good product out there. It's called Intramax. It's an organic-based supplementation, mineral and phytonutrients and bioflavonoids. All the substances which we need for health are contained in this one jug of, of nutrients. And it's called Intramax. You can buy them online. You don't have to get them from me. In fact, we run out constantly on it. It's like $95 for a whole month's supply. And you don't have to buy any other vitamins if you drink one little cupful of it. And I like liquid vitamins over pills. It works better for me. I also have a few things that I take as extra. Whenever I'm concerned about, if I feel like a cold's coming on, or I'm concerned about a COVID infection, or, I just want to be super healthier, because stress creates vitamin deficiency in humans. If we have stress, which is fear, our vitamins will become very decreased. So I take extra vitamin C every day. And my vitamin C intake is 1,000 milligrams at least twice a day. Now, the recommended dosage of vitamin C is like 60 micrograms. That's milligrams. I'm sorry. That's a little bit. And it's really hard to get vitamin C from plants and citrus like we used to. So I take 1,000 in the morning and I take 1,000 at night. The other one I take, which is really hard to get, is the omega-3 fatty acids. Now, these are the good fats. Omega-3 fatty acids are what occur in the salmon and fish and in certain plants. And you have to eat a whole bunch to get enough omega-3 fatty acids. But it's very easy to buy a supplement to get these omega-3 fatty acids. And my dosage is 2,000 micrograms 2 times per day. And as a result of that, it takes about 2 to 3 months for you to really feel the changes from omega-3, and that would be less inflammation. So a lot of people with chronic back pain, chronic arthritis, these chronic inflammatory conditions, when you take the omega-3s, they're well known to help decrease that inflammatory response. But it takes 1 to 3 months before you really benefit. So don't give up. Keep taking them. It really does help. I also take vitamin A, and that's something that is called retinoic acid. And I take 1,000 micrograms per day of vitamin A. I also take zinc. I take 30 to 50 milligrams of zinc per day. This is known to kill viruses. And, I'm concerned about COVID as everybody else is. And I like to know that I'm taking something which is definitely been proven to, if you were to be exposed, to help your body to get rid of any of it. I also take I don't suggest, I have enough B vitamin in my multi-mineral, but if you're not taking B vitamins, you need to do the B complex. Now, B complex is a vitamin supplement that has all the B vitamins in it. There's like 12 different B vitamins. And this is the stuff that makes your urine yellow. So if you're taking vitamins and minerals and you're not noticing any yellow in your urine, you're probably not taking enough B complex. Now, I also believe in a multi-mineral supplement. A lot of the vitamins and one-a-days and things that people are taking are very devoid in high, the multi-minerals that you need. I like to supplement that separately. Okay. I think I told you I prefer natural organic food supplements over pills. And you can get a lot of that good stuff right over at the GNC. All right. So we've got a few minutes left here, and I want to give you a really important tip on how you can improve your immune system really easily. All right. And understand that your immune system is the system which protects you from infections, viruses, disease, worms, parasites. It is something which is designed to keep you, for long-term survival. day in, day out, you're being bombarded with these pathogens, which are everywhere. You can't avoid them. And it's your immune system that fights off these types of pathogens. Now, when your body is in a state of, there's two ways that your body functions. One is it functions under stress, and the other one is it's when there's no stress. Those are the two main modes of operation. The stress is your fight or flight. This is when your nervous system, your brain, detects something which could harm it right away, right on the spot. Like a tiger at the watering hole, right? You're getting your water, you're licking it up and putting it in your hand, scooping it in, and the tiger shows up. Your fight or flight kicks in, man. It is going to save your life. It has nothing to do with long-term immunity. It is about surviving the fight. And that means blood sugar goes up, your bowels empty, you get rid of all your poops because you don't want to run and fight with a full stomach. Your body's ability to blood clotting factors go up. Your long-term immunity rests. You become very sensitive to sounds. And you're very concerned with your body. And this is to get you out of that trauma. The next part is, it's the feed or breed is the opposite one. And the opposite reaction is the one which helps you to eat and to make children, to feed and breed. And this is the one that activates the immune system, because long-term immunity, in other words, you don't have to worry about a virus if you're fighting the tiger. But when you're no longer under stress, and this other immune system is what heals tissue. It helps with proteins. It helps with the body to feel better. And how do you get that? One way of stimulating the healthy immune system is, how do you feel when you see a baby and they smile at you and you get them to smile back? You're going like, your immune system is just dumping serotonin. It's becoming stronger and stronger. So, that means you're going to be around longer versus watching the news and having fear about things. That's the opposite immune system. Listen, if you want to understand more, I have stuff available online. You can check it out. I will be here next Tuesday. We're out of time as usual, but I thank you so much for your attention. God bless and have a great day.